Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I hope you're well. Over the last couple episodes or uploads, I have been talking about the fairies, and their connection to extraterrestrials, aliens / UFO. In my last video, I talked about the Sidhe. And it just so happened that I landed there with Elena Denon. When I saw that word in that article that I was reading, I thought, where did I hear that before? And, well, I thought I should look up Elena Denon and that word, and I did. And something from 2021 came up. Hold on a second here. Okay. And as I read before, it was from 5/5/2021. Q&A Live, Special Inner Earth, May 4th, 2021 at 11 p.m. Okay? And this is with Arkelios is a Thuatha Denan, the great wizard of the Sidhe. Now, to pause here for a second, okay? For the past 2 mornings in a row, I've been woken up during the witching hour. Sorry, I just woke up just now. It's actually my lady time, so I was just taking some extra rest. But I woke up at 3, not on the dot, okay? Like yesterday morning, like early in the morning, I woke up, and when I finally got up out of bed and I went to the bathroom and then I checked the time, it was 20 after 3. And so it was yesterday, like the first day that I woke up, and automatically I heard a song from Sailor Moon. And it's actually called the 3 o'clock fairy. Yeah, I kid you not. It goes dun 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 dun. It's almost like a childhood rhyme. What do they call that? Nursery school rhyme. Okay? And what it has to do with is in Sailor Moon Super S, the movie, it's called The Black Dream Hole, I believe it's called. I have the movie, just 1 second. I have to pause. Yes, I was correct. So it's the Sailor Moon Super S movie, and it's called The Black Dream Hole. It says, around the world, children are disappearing, and the culprits are not of this world. The evil queen, Baidane, plots to trap Earth in a dark energy field called the Black Dream Hole. Powered by the sweet sugary energy produced from the dreams of children. Now, this is exactly what it sounds like with fairies, okay? And that's what they are. They're fairies in this movie. Meanwhile, Chibiusa befriends Piri, a new kid who seems to have grown fond of the town's warm and friendly atmosphere. Their peace is short-lived when the town's children, including Chibiusa, start sleepwalking out of their homes. Sailor Moon, Peri, and the Sailor Guardians must now fight and save the lost children before the enemy can place the world into an eternal sleep that's definitely not sweet. Okay? So what it is at 3 o'clock in the morning, there's that song that plays. And the children are almost hypnotized, and they take these children to a ship, which is actually like a flying boat, and they take them to another land. And it can't be a coincidence that I'm reminded of this, because as I've been studying the Fae and missing my 411 cases, I listed some really good ones this morning as well, with people that have disappeared for like 18 months and then reappeared in the same place they went missing, in the same clothes. And they look like they just went missing 5 minutes ago, and they've been gone 18 months. Again, with missing time in these other realms, okay? So you'll never believe it. I get up. Oh, right. So this morning, again, I woke up at 3 and I start researching this stuff again about the Fae and about how, the connection to extraterrestrials and such. And I actually went and checked out what Elena Danaan is doing on her channel. I kid you not. It was a day ago. Yesterday, okay, on 7/7, she's talking about Arkelios, the same person that I had just looked up to tell you guys about. From this transcript in 2021. She just put out a video from this fella, Arkelios from Inner Earth Speaks. Meet the Kahim. Okay? But hear me when I say these are not extraterrestrials. These are not aliens. They've been here with us for a very long time. They would be the middle children of creation. And I was going to make a video and ask people if they are the middle child, that I really need to hear your experience as to what that was like. It's so important for me to understand the divine creator's creations, okay? I'm going to talk just a little bit more about this, and then I'm going to read you more about the Sidhe and the Ayoshi, okay? This is part of Irish lore. As we know, Elena Danaan lives in Ireland, okay? She's French, but she lives in Ireland now. So, right. What? Oh, about the, yes. So about the middle children. So in Islam, in the religion, in the Muslim religion, okay, in their creation story of how the divine came to create us, okay, and it's called the creation story of Adam, which is us. It goes that the angels were created first, and then what they call the jinn. But what they call the jinn is all beings of the unseen realm, which includes the elementals and the nature spirits and demons, quote unquote, what they would really be, okay? The Catholic Church deems it all demonic, okay? So when you have a place called Devil's River, Devil's Peak, Devil's whatever, Devil's Lake, this indicates that it is an area of what's sometimes referred to as high strangeness or paranormal or supernatural activity, okay? And it may just mean that these might have natural gateways or portals there in that area, okay? Now, we already discussed the missing 411 thing, so let me just try to stay on track here. So the middle children, right? So in Islam, it goes the angels were created first, and then the jinn, and then human beings. So it would make these beings in the unseen realm, okay, the middle children. There's been lots of indication that the jinn, aliens, fairies, and all of this stuff are all the same things. Aliens are not different than fairies. We're just calling them by a different name now. I have a lot of videos that I produced recently that have other people that have come to this exact same conclusion with great evidence of this, okay? A big thing about the missing 401 cases is the missing time, and you have that with both alien abduction and extraterrestrial encounters, okay? It's all the same thing. These are only alien to us because we forgot about them, and now they're alien and foreign because we don't know them. Because our culture, our civilization of today has forgotten them, okay? So I really need to understand how it feels. Like I remember, because Jenny was a middle child, okay? She had a younger brother and an older brother. And I do remember some of it, but I'd like to hear from others, okay? So if you are the middle child, please comment below about what your true and honest experience was, okay, as the middle child. That will help me out a lot, because it seems that these beings are master manipulators of language, okay, of language. So they'll tell you the truth, but they'll manipulate it in such a way that they can get away with it. Do you understand? So, for example, there was a story where a person made a deal with a leprechaun to leave the marker alone where the treasure was, and the leprechaun agreed, but then made so many markers that the person could never find where the exact treasure was again. He didn't touch it, he kept his promise, but he made a lot more. Do you understand? So they're very tricky, which I said the spirit realm is tricky right from the get-go, okay? So let me read to you this article here. It's called the Ioshi, or the Sidhe, okay? These are the kings and queens of the fairies. In Irish lore, the Sidhe, or Aoshi, pronounced S-H-E-E, were descendants of the pre-Celtic inhabitants of Ireland. They are members of a powerful supernatural race comparable to the fairies or elves of old. Like I said, I always get that vision of where the elves in Lord of the Rings give way to humanity and they return into the West and let human beings have their time in the age now. It continues, they are often called the kings and queens of the fairies. However, they are neither winged nor diminutive, and are in no way like the cute little fairies of our modern day imagination. Remember, the cute little fairies of modern day imagination was from Disney. They don't actually look like that. The wings of insects like butterflies came from the Victorian era. That was where it was artistic and, putting a twist on things, right? It wasn't always like that. So it says, rather, Aoshi, or as I will refer to them throughout this post, are otherworldly beings who resemble humans in size and appearance. And as I've shown you, so many of those beings look like that from Elena Danan's book. Many call them the Sidhe, but that is incorrect. Sidhe being the word for mounds rather than the Aoshi, people of the mounds. So they're not even actually called the Sidhe. Aoshi are considered to be a distinct race, quite separate from human beings, yet who have had much contact with them over the centuries. They are tall, with a noble appearance, with silvery sweet speech. That's exactly how Thorhan and them speak. Oh, the blah, 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 blah. They sound so etheric and wise and all that, right? They are generally described as stunningly beautiful, though they can also be terrible and hideous. They are sometimes described as transparent beings who walk without making a sound or leaving tracks. They are dressed very finely, and their halls are richly decorated places with scrumptious foods and drinks. Aoshi were descendants from the Tuatha De Danann, which is what Elena thinks she is, her bloodline, but I don't believe it, who settled in Ireland a millennia ago. When the Milesians arrived in Ireland from Spain, they found these people of the goddess Danu, described as gods but not gods, a race of beings somewhere in between the two. And like I was saying, they are interdimensional. They come from a space in between spaces that's interdimensional. It is said that they came from heaven, or the Anunnaki, those that descend from heaven to earth, same kind of beings, on account of their intelligence and vast knowledge. And as we know, the Anunnaki and the custodians both value highly intelligence and knowledge. The Milesians fought the Tuatha De Danann and defeated them. As part of their surrender terms, the Tuatha De Danann agreed to retreat and dwell underground in the Hollow Hills, or Sidhe, where it is said they remain to this day as Aoshi, also called Daoine Sidhe, pronounced Dina-shi. Each leader of the distinct tribes of Tuatha De Danann was given one mound. Every king or queen has his own palace where they feast and play music. They also have regular battles with neighboring tribes. And this is also what it says about the elementals, that they are all like, at first the four nations lived together in peace and harmony, and then the Fire Nation attacked. This is kind of the same thing. It says with the elementals that they have common wars, and a lot of the time you hear the extraterrestrials at war with each other. It reflects. So Fairy Queen Meeb of the Sidhe, sorry, I'm really terrible with names. In addition to living under fairy mounds, Aoshi are variously believed to inhabit fairy raths, Karins, or live in the land of Tir na Nog, a mythical island to the west of Ireland. It's kind of like Avalon, I think. No matter where they abide, it is an invisible world that coexists with the world of humans. Yes, it often says that they live in a parallel dimension that runs alongside ours, which is what it says about the fourth dimension, okay? Which is what Elena Danaan says about this fella, that he is living in the fourth density, but it's the fourth dimension, okay? Inner Earth, you have to remember, is like Subternia. It's underground or under the water. So if you hear beings from here, that just means that they are an elemental or nature spirit. Doesn't mean just because you're lower, doesn't mean you're evil. Okay, that's really important. So, and they often told us that we would meet the beings from inner Earth first. All right, but these are not aliens. It says, no matter where they abide, it is an invisible world that coexists with the world of humans, a different dimension of space and time rather than our own. The fourth dimension deals with space and time. This world is described as a parallel universe in which the Aoshi walk amongst the living. That's why they're sometimes thought of as spirits, right? So there's water, Sidhe. Belief in this race of beings who have powers to move quickly through the air. And, oh, sorry, that isn't, that was a picture. Belief in this race of beings, so these are not Water City, we're just continuing. Belief in this race of beings who have powers to move quickly through the air and change their shape at will. This is what I was saying about them able to being like they can transform or like instantly manifest with the aethers, okay? All you need to do is think of it. That's why a lot of the craft are controlled by mental energy or telepathy or whatever you want to call it, okay? It's mental, solely mental control. And it's because you can just kind of, I don't remember how to do it, but in my past life, in the old world, in the antediluvian age, I was able to shapeshift. And it isn't as difficult as you'd think with the right ingredients around you, okay? So that's what they do. And they're changing their shape at will. So they can change into animals, they can change into people and there was a story about that I posted in my video links under the portals and missing 411, aliens and all that, dimensional beings. It's a longer video, but under there is links of that, where there was a fella who had seen like a blue glowing being, but then his sister saw the blue glowing being and it turned into him, and he was standing at her doorway. And when she told him, she's like, well, I certainly wasn't standing at her doorway, but I saw this being. So they can shapeshift into our loved ones and such for whatever reasons they need to, but they can do this at will. It says, and it once played a huge part in the lives of people living in rural Ireland and Scotland. Down through the ages, the Aoshi have been said to be in contact with mortals, giving them protection, healing them, and even teaching them some of their skills. Elena Danaan just put out a video saying how the extraterrestrials healed her. No, they didn't. This is what happens with me too. When you go over into these spiritual realms, oh shit, I have to blah, 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 blah. I'm just going to her page to tell you when exactly she put out a video to say the extraterrestrials healed me. Look how young and great I look. Yeah, let's see. Oh yeah, it was the prediction April 13th when Michael Sala first did that stuff. It was 3 weeks ago. And she tries to come out and say that, come see how the extraterrestrials have made me young and beautiful or whatever. No, this is not true again. Okay, so that was about 3 weeks ago. But that's just what this means. Giving them protection, healing them, and even teaching them some of their skills. smithcraft, or the working of metals one such thing. In a just battle, they will fight beside mortals. When they fight, they go armed with lances of blue flames and shields of pure white. So it kind of sounds like angels, but they're not. In folk belief and practice, the Aoshi are often propagated with offerings, and care is taken to avoid angering or insulting them. That's what we talked about in the last articles that we read about the Fae. Often they are not named directly, but rather spoken of with euphemisms as the good neighbors, the fairy folk, or simply the folk. And this is because, remember, they need names. They don't have names, or like the elementals need to mate with mortals to get souls. They are more likely to be so. Other names are gentry and the lordly ones, or the good people, or the shining ones. Okay? They're also known as those two. The Aoshi are generally benign until angered by some foolish action of a mortal. Many trees and mounds are considered under their protection, and if a mortal destroys or damages these, then a curse is put upon him and his family. In some parts of the countryside, people would not build their homes over certain fairy paths because of the type of disturbances which would ensue. However, Aoshi are notorious for destroying wheat and the goodness of the milk. Where do they destroy wheat? When they do crop circles. The farmers cannot use the wheat after they do the crop circles. That's destroying wheat. That's Aoshi. That's the Sidhe. These are fairies, and they've been with us ever since the beginning because they were created before us. They're the middle children. The Aoshi are notorious for destroying wheat and the goodness of the milk. To propagate them, the people of Ireland, to please them, the people of Ireland leave them offerings of milk and butter. Aoshi are fierce guardians of their abodes. See, I told you, they protect like places probably like these national parks if they live in a forest or whatever. Whether that be a fairy hill, a fairy ring, a special tree, often a hawthorn, or perhaps a particular loch or wood, like a national forest. The Gaelic otherworld is seen as being closer to at the times of dusk and dawn. So again, waking up in the witching hour, it is the middle of the night. It is a few hours past midnight, but it's not quite sunrise yet. So it's in between the night and the morning, which is in the middle for the middle children of creation. Okay? Okay. The other world is seen as being closer at the times of dusk and dawn. Therefore, this is seen as a special time to the Aoshi, which 3 a.m. is. It's in between the hours of 3 and 4, I think, or 3 and 5. Or 12 and something, but there's debate about when the witching hour actually takes place. But anyway, the past 2 nights has been 3 a.m. and this came to me this morning. So let's continue. Sorry. Therefore, this is seen as a special time to the Aoshi, as are some of the festivals such as Samhain, Beltane, and Midsummer. So these are also where times where the veils between dimensions are the thinnest, or the interdimensional veil. Okay? Like on Halloween. And this is why we can see into the spirit realms a lot easier at this time, okay? Whenever a host of the Aoshi appears, there is a strange, like the humming of 1,000 bees, and a whirlwind of She-Goeth appears. That sounds like a UFO. Belief in Aoshi has survived for thousands of years. The hold that they had on the Celtic mind was so strong that the new religion of Christianity could not shake it. In the Colloquy of the Ancients, a dialogue which supposedly took place between St. Patrick and the ghost of Cailite of Fianna, St. Patrick is amazed to see a fairy woman coming out of the cave of Krua-chan, wearing a green mantle with a crown of gold on her head. Whereas the fairy woman is young and beautiful, Kailite himself is old and withered. When Patrick inquires of this, Kailite tells him, "She is of the Thuatha de Dananns, who are unfading, and I am of the sons of Mil, who are perishable and fade away." Aoshi are sometimes considered to be nature spirits, divided into distinct categories of wood spirits, water spirits, air spirits, and fire spirits, and the elemental spirits of each place. See, I told you. There are guardian Aoshi of most of the lakes in Ireland and Scotland. Loch Gur in County Limerick is a very magical place where many of the Sidhe kings and queens of Ireland can be found. The lake lies within a circle of low-lying hills, but once every 7 years it appears as dry land, where an entrance to the land of youth may be found. The lake's guardian is known as Tois Brehien, the lazy one, because she neglected to watch over the well from which the lake sprang forth. It is believed that once every 7 years a mortal meets their death by drowning in the lake, taken by the Bain Fahin, the white lady, like the lady of the lake, like the Excalibur lady. There are different types of Aoshi, the well-known being the Bean Sidhe, or the Banshee. The word Banshee simply means woman of the Sidhe, but has come to specifically indicate the supernatural women of Ireland who announce an oncoming death by their wailing and keening. Or it kind of sounds like La Llorona. Her counterpart in Scottish mythology is Baobhan Sith, which is so funny because we're about to hear something from Final Fantasy VII. Other varieties of Aoshi are the Cat-sìth, a fairy cat, which is actually the little cat in Final Fantasy VII. The Q-sìth, a fairy dog, and the Scottish Bean Ni, the washerwoman, who is seen washing the bloody clothing or armor of the person who is doomed to die. The fae creature known as the Lianan Sidhe is the fairy lover. Again, listen here. She seeks out artists and poets, and in return for inspiration, she feeds off their life force. These men in turn fall madly in love with her, and then she leaves them. The enchantment is so extreme and intense that the men feel like they cannot live without her. They soon waste away and die. And when I first read this, I'm not kidding you, I don't mean to make any assumptions or accusations, but I thought about Claudio Nocelli and his little friggin' extraterrestrial girlfriend, Helen Morris. I do not believe Helen Morris is what she says she is at all. And she charms him by saying, "Oh, Claudio, you're so intelligent," and all this nonsense in his books. A distinction is often made between the Sidhe, who are seen walking around after sunset, and the Slow Sidhe, the fairy host, who travel through the air at night and are known to take mortals on their journeys with them, like Elena Danan's trip to Neptune. These airborne spirits of an unpleasant nature are perhaps the cursed, evil, or restless dead. Yeah, so that's where it stops. But honestly, it all connects to these fifth dimensional beings, which I have said they have never been human, and they are sometimes known as the fallen angels. Now, you have to realize that fallen angel means a being of another dimension that leaves and goes down, right, to a different dimension. These beings, I don't think, are supposed to do that, technically. This is why the creations of the divine creator were separated. We're not meant to be together because we're so different and we're created differently. Although we are closer to these beings in inner earth of these lower dimensions than we are to the higher ones. To relate to those types of beings, I don't know if you would be able to, no offense. A lot of people think they could, but what they're dealing with are these beings. They're not actually dealing with an angel. Because even in Islam, they say that angels obey God, obey the Most High. And so, unless directed to go to a person, they wouldn't be doing that. And that's exactly why that's not Archangel Michael who's talking to David Wilcock. It's probably one of these. We can never be sure, but it is part of this world of what I'm talking about, the Fae, which have been with us for a lot longer. Aliens are just a new concept. And like I said, Elena Danaan is talking about this fella again. It was been the last 24 hours, 7/7, her video on July 7th. And it's crazy because I've been making videos previously. So today is July 9th, okay? But 2 days ago, which would have been on 7/7, I woke up at 3 a.m. with all of this, okay? So I'm just glad that I got it over with and recorded it. I may just end up having to upload this directly after Friday's upload. I'm not sure. I might even upload it early because these things are very important to get out. And I'm actually worried about Claudio Nocelli. You know what I mean? Elena is in so deep with this. I don't know how I would ever help anyway, or even if they want help, because I feel like, especially with these people that claim to have extraterrestrial boyfriends, we talked about how the Fae will glamour people, they'll charm people. Right, so with wording, you're not supposed to say thank you to them because it puts you in debt to them. So it's like they've done something where now they can come and ask you for a favor. Very tricky and manipulative with words. Instead, you say, I appreciate that. You do not say, I'm sorry, because it admits fault. You say, pardon me or forgive me. Do you see what I'm saying? And they get you with wording all the time. And this is how they get away with saying that they're aliens and this and that and da 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 da. And like I said, Elena says in this article from 2021, first I'm going to connect to Thorhan by telepathy and he's going to guide me. We are first connected by a device that I now have in me, but not only our link grew. Anyway, it's her pineal gland. She has no alien implant. Your pineal gland is how you connect with these beings, as I do. But none of them ever told me to come online and tell everybody that they were aliens. They just guided me and taught me and helped me remember who they were. Okay? So thank you, everybody, for listening. I'm pretty sure that's all I have to update you with this and the Sidhe with Elena Danaan. These are not aliens. Aliens and extraterrestrials do not exist. They do not come from other planets. They have always been here. They are from here, and they are from previous ages before us, okay? Like the antediluvian age and ages before. There are graduates of their civilizations. That's who's out there. That's who's in the UFO. But they are not aliens from another planet. Okay? And they are taking advantage of the fact that we forgot about them. There is a high level of caution with this just because of the deception and the dishonesty. I have found information that they want to take over again. They want to be the superior race again. And they say this about the jinn. Okay? They say this in Islam and with the Muslim religion with the jinn. The jinn are not happy that we replaced them. They have greater powers than us. They have greater abilities and they can do more than we can. So there's a lot of animosity again with the middle child thing. Okay? So cuz they're different than us, but it relates. I promise you that it relates. Like the great heavenly mother and father, it's the same. So they are the middle children, and I would appreciate it if people could share their experience with me being the middle child so that I could emphasize and help relate this between humans and the jinn. You know what I'm saying? So to try to be like even a mediator so that I can understand more and try to fix this. because there's a great level of that, even though they won't tell you this, they pretend not to be. They are upset that we forgot them. Okay? They're upset. But what I don't understand is, being like our older siblings, why they're acting like this. You see? I would never think that, like, your older siblings are supposed to like be somebody that you look up to and admire, and they're supposed to show you the way. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of this is highly deceptive, play on words, and everything that I've read to you over the past couple of videos now with the Sidhe and the fairy fae folk, or the fair folk, okay? Um, okay, I think that's good. I can't risk it being any longer. Okay, take care, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. It again is July 9th, 2025. It's 2:51 p.m. Thank you. Take care, and I'll talk with you all soon. Bye-bye.
Hello. So I just have one little thing to add. Anyone who has an extraterrestrial boyfriend or girlfriend is under the influence of one of these fairy romancers or whatever, okay? And this is a big problem. Dr. Andrea Martin, again, is a fairy romancer person. She has an extraterrestrial husband. I'm going to have to send this stuff to Dr. Michael Sala and explain to him what Elena Danaan has done. Now, she has put this fella, okay? She's made an AI recreation of him from this 7/7. He's hideously ugly, okay? This black-haired fellow with like a symbol on his forehead. These are 100% the Fae. They are not extraterrestrial. They use tricky language. They'll sound very pretty and angelic-like, but they're extremely deceptive and dangerous. Again, they are these fifth dimensional beings, okay? And just they are also known as the fallen angels. Just see if I can pause this to find what I'm looking for. Goodness gracious. Okay, it says the fifth dimension. This is the plane of existence populated by intelligent entities that have never existed in the third dimension, being closely associated with the third dimension, because at the time, I don't think it was the same. Back in the old world, it wasn't the same as it is today. They don't live this kind of life that we live. They have never done it. So, being closely associated with the third dimension, entities in the fifth spiritual dimension can interact with us easily, influence our thought patterns, circumstances, and or the elements. In religious texts, these entities are referred to as demons or fallen angels. But again, the fifth dimension is where these Anunnaki beings are said to. That's why it was all about the 5D, all about that. It says the fourth spiritual dimension is a vibrational state I lightly refer to as the state of confusion. And again, nos confunden, they confused us. And I think they're continuing to confuse us with language. It is the mysterious plane of existence closest to ours, like a parallel dimension, and it is the vibration where the human spirit realm exists. This includes our ability to increase our growing ability to raise our vibration through various methods to visit the fourth dimension. The reason I refer to it as the state of confusion is because it is this dimension that the human spirit can be regulated to following death, commonly referred to as ghosts, or transitions to between here, the third dimension, and the afterlife. It is also a vibrational plane that is used by intelligences from higher dimensions to interact with us in the third dimension, where a two-way communication can take place. So like I said, some people see their passed on loved ones in their dreams. This is why that is, because you're interacting with the fourth dimension, the spirit realm. Now again, these beings are dangerous. And the reason why is because of the deception. If they were telling the real truth and being honest about who they were and where they come from and why they've come back now and such, then it wouldn't be a problem. But the high level of deception And getting these people to believe that they're going to have, whether male or female, some type of extraterrestrial husband or wife is extremely concerning, okay? And no matter how lonely I have been, that has never been appealing to me. Never. Like I said in my last recording, none of the beings I have ever encountered ever encouraged me to tell anybody that they were aliens or tell any lies. They only guided me to help find this truth. I truly believe that there is good out there, and we oppose deception. Thank you very much for listening. Take care.